YouTube. It's Tom back with another one for you. This one here is an example of the UCC one. This is another example out of the earlier redemption manual. I send people a lot of times the one man out for them to use as a reference when they doing the UCC 1 and the 3 and all that. This one here is the first book that I ever read, and it makes it real simple and real easy for you to understand. So I'm gonna run through this shit real quickly. This is an example of the UCC 1 and the things that you're gonna need to get it done, and then it goes into from the UCC 1 into the 3, which is the addendum, which is what you'll be sending the Secretary of State privately, and that's going to contain all your private information as far as your financing statement goes, and then any banking information and things like that. So this serves a few different purposes. Initially when I got into this, it was for the purpose of trying to get myself out of some legal issues that I was running into. And then so what I ended up finding out was that everything was commercial in nature. And so, when you learn how to discharge a criminal charge and all that, it's the same thing as discharging any other bill that you're gonna run into. Ultimately, it comes down to everything being a tax, right? So that's illegal here. So you're not, you really can't be taxed for anything when you are the government. You know what I mean? So people tend to forget that they're dealing with public servants and shit. So all they can really do is present you offers, and you can either accept them or reject them. So this process here commercially secures your straw man for one, and then it makes it easier for you to discharge any bills moving forward because you already have this public notice letting them know that what your intent for this action was, and then if there was any issues with it, then they can go ahead and let you know that there's a problem with it, right? So you give them ample opportunity to let you know if there's going to be any issues, and everything comes down to notice. Ultimately, everything comes down to notice. So what do we got here? Required information for getting started. So before getting started, it will be necessary to have certain information readily available to you. Some of the necessary information and documents are listed below. As you prepare for documents, please read, reread, and double proof all documents for errors, which is probably a good idea too, because when I had first initially did this, I made some errors too, because there's a lot to it, and I went all the way with it. As far as the setting up the bond with the Treasury Department and all that, and I did all this shit initially before I had even known what I was even doing and getting into. But I am glad that I did it now. So, but the point I'm trying to make is to definitely make sure that everything matches, all your numbers are correct and all that shit. Even though you can go back and correct anything with the UCC 3 addendum to correct any misspellings or things like that, or anything that you need to add to it or take from it, you can do that via UCC 3. So remember, these are your documents. I suggest keeping the original paperwork as boilerplates or blanks in case you have to later change your documents. That way you will still have a set to work from for your family and friends. And that's what I did too. My laptop burnt out, otherwise I'd be able to give everybody the shit that I use. So, but I've been putting together too some packages for people too, some some default templates for you to go in and change things out and stuff like that. I'll have that for a fee soon actually too. So if anybody needs that, email me with any inquiries. If you need this book for free, just send me an email and I'll just send you the book. You can just use this as a template just as well, right? So info required: your full birth name. Number 2, your full married name. Number 3, any alias, adopted, or other married names. Number 4, what you call your higher power. that may or may not be relevant. Depending on who's filling this out. So number 5, your home address including zip, your mailing address including zip. Number 7, your county and state abbreviation. Number 8, your state governor's name. Number 9, governor's mailing address, right? Because these are people that you're going to be putting on notice as to your current status regarding your financial situations and your commercial entities that you'll be utilizing. And this is putting them on notice as to the fact that you have commercially seized him and are going to be pretty much whipping your own slave at this point. That's how it is. So number 10, your birth date, place, county, certificate number, and any numbers on the certificate. All right, because you're going to need that for your UCC 3. That's not all necessarily going to go in your UCC 1. Some of it may. I made the mistake of literally putting all my private information just smack on the UCC 1 right out in the public and shit. So So that was a dumbass move. So I would be a little more careful with that now moving forward, and make sure that you X out certain numbers in your social and things like that if they're going to appear in the UCC one, because keep in mind that's all going to be publicly accessible, and so that's what makes it public notice. Okay. So number 11, governor's name and mailing address for state of birth if different from the current state inhabitancy. So, because you're going to be having to notice the people that you were born in, and also as well the state that you're currently residing in, or inhabiting, right? If it's not going to be for commercial purposes, because reside is a commercial term. So 12, your social security number and name as it appears on the SS card. 13, your driver's license number and state of issue, right? Because you're laying claim to all these things here. So make sure you know everything that's really related to the public as far as licenses, certifications, etc. You want to make sure you get these all on here so you can go ahead and lay a lien on those, and have that superior claim on any issues regarding any of those licenses. So other licenses including marriage, pilots, occupational, etc. List issuing entity and license number. 15. List all minor children full names from marriage along with their social security numbers, date of birth, place of birth, and birth certificate numbers. And that's going to come in handy if you're running into any issues with the supposed government regarding your children and things like that. This is going to give you the superior claim on anything to do with your children at all, which ultimately are going to come down to being your property. But if you don't have a superior commercial claim on them, then who does, right? So here's a copy of the UCC1 financing statement. So up top, you're going to see name and phone of contact filer. That's optional. You can put your phone number, stuff like that in there. I did. So I'll just tell you what I did, not what you should do. So what I did, right? So debtor's exact full legal name and all that. Yeah, I didn't. So right here, you see the organization's name is going to be, yeah, I don't know why these niggas did all this shit up here. It looks like they're leaning everybody, the United States and state of Texas and all that. I wouldn't do all that. This is just going to be, the debtor's name is going to be your all caps name that you're going to see here in the, and I guess, I mean, it looks like they lean the state here. I mean, I did my version off the one man out, which for me compared to this is a lot more clear. So, the additional debtor's exact full legal name, individual's last name, and first name. So these are going to be the debtor is going to be your all caps name. The secured party is going to be down in the number 3 section, and that's going to be upper and lowercase, even though they have it in all caps here, because it's not the organization. So, but I did mine here in number 3. Secured party's name is upper and lower. The addresses are going to be just as you see them anywhere else as you normally write them. And then the names in the number 2 are going to be in the all caps. And I did those using the same address, but you can use different addresses. You can use a PO box. PO box might even be a better option, right? So then you go down here to the financing statement, and it says the agent, Jack Rabbit Patriot, a living soul, hereby secures and claims for the secured party all the rights, interest, and title in all hospital, city, county, state, federal, and international birth certificates, and the pledge represented by the same, but not limited to Pignus, Hypothetica, Heredia Mentis, res the energy and product derived therefrom, including but not limited to the fictions or corporations, all caps, Jack R. Patriot. And then so it has all the different derivatives of the possible ways that the name could be spelled here down in the bottom. And then any derivatives thereof. State of Texas, birth certificate with the number XYZ, nunc pro tunc, meaning from the initial institution of that particular document. And then see attached addendum for additional collateral description. And that's all going to be in the UCC3, because you can only fit so much in the UCC1. This is your initial financing statement. This doesn't go into as much detail as the one man out does. I personally wouldn't use this. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I used the one man out, but this is just an example here. So I as well have examples of different ways to fill it out. Just basically pulled off of the one man out too. Because if it ain't broke, you don't gotta fix it. You know what I mean? So, what do we got here? So let's get to the next. So this is the beginning of the UCC 3, which I do have a video on. I have a video on the UCC 3 that I already did in that, and that shit is fire. That's off the. I mean, it may be one in here after this video. I may put an extra one, but you can go look up the UCC 3 video. That shit is fire, and it basically breaks down what it is that should go into a or what this gentleman and I did put into my UCC 3 and things like that. I mean, it pretty much touches on every possible avenue of anything that you ever could own and any issues that could arise from anything that you do or do own, or do not own or use. So here, 16, list the year, make, model, VIN, plate number, registration, title number for all automobiles, motorhomes, trailers, watercrafts, etc. Right? So definitely check out the UCC 3 video. It goes into a lot of detail. Number 17, mailing address for the Elections Administration Office of your county. If not called the Elections Administration, then the appropriate title. 18, elections administrator's name. If not all elections administrators, then include appropriate title. Number 19, list any real property with legal description and commonly known as addresses, or include copies of deeds with legal descriptions. We have introduced a new document called a Declaration of Peace to end the war that the United States has against the American people via the Trading with the Enemy Act, which is fucking crazy, the trading with the enemy. I mean, why would you need to trade with an enemy if you weren't a fucking enemy? You know what I'm saying? So, and to end the Civil War as a peace treaty was never signed. This document will need to be changed to suit your particular circumstances. I also have personally believed since March of 2000 that we should produce a Declaration of Independence to declare to the world that we are a real natural men and women, and to explain our citizenship. I now believe that we need to explain who we are and who we are not in each affidavit, so these courts may not make any mistake as to who we are to our challenge that their court does not have their subject matter jurisdiction. I mean, to each his own. I do agree with the fact that everything should be as clear as possible in any documentation or any correspondence that you have with these people, because they like to make fucking assumptions. So you definitely got to touch on all the bases whenever you're making contact with these people, so they know what the fuck that you mean and what you don't mean. Because it ain't just what you mean, it's what you don't mean too that you got to be clear about. So it says, I do not mind passing along my Declaration of Independence to use as a model, but I believe that the people that have the capabilities to produce this document ought to write this one themselves, which I agree with too. Even though I copy and paste a lot of shit too, but I add my own things in there, you know, because the way that I feel too is if I can't agree with the sentiments of any documentation, then I'm going to fucking use that. And, you know, if somebody thinks that I'm not competent because I did that, well, nobody fucking asked you. You know what I'm saying? Fuck out of here. So, disclaimer. This information is provided for educational purposes only and does not constitute professional, legal, or tax advice. The distributors herein are not tax protesters, nor are we anti-government. We are for lawful taxation and for government by the people under the common law and not governed by corporations with employee codes, rules, regulations, statutes, and codes. So much of this information has been gathered over a period of years from numerous sources. It is up to you to determine the validity of any and all information presented. The authors do not make claims of being an attorney, lawyer, paralegal, or any other type of legal counselor. Any document created are yours to change and do with as you please. We are only your helper, administrative assistants. Information may change, thereby making prior documents outdated or obsolete. As we cannot anticipate these changes, we make no claims as to the accuracy of any documents supplied by our service, and we make no reimbursements for filing fees or document fees when changes occur. Please remember that we are in the same boat, and when changes occur, we must change our documents also. So everything does need to be up to date, because keep in mind that what we're using here essentially is commercial code. So it is their commercial code that we're using here in order to commercially secure our straw man, which means that you're using, that you may come into contact with different rules, codes, regulations, and things like that that are subject to change because it is their shit. All right, so just try to stay up to date as much as you can with any documentation that you're putting in as far as that goes. So, see what we got here. So here, all right. So this is an example of what you would put in your UCC 3 as far as what the So you got a credit card number here claimed and things like that. This is gonna make it easy for you to discharge any accounts related to anything that has to do with these. You start claiming these. You put your house on there, your car, and things like that. And when you go to discharge it, this is going to be used as a reference as to the reason why you have the ability to do that. And the value amount that you put on your birth certificate is ultimately going to dictate the value of things that you are going to be able to offset or discharge using the financing statement as like a reference as to what the actual value is of that particular bond, because there is no money. So it's basically a lien is going to indicate the value of anything, and it's going to pretty much say what you think it's worth based on what the lien is, right? So then that's going to allow you to offset and create instruments based on the value of that particular bond. So in the event of the death by the secured party or an agent for the secured party for any reason other than natural causes such as murder, coveting, or any cause of questionable nature, an insurance policy is hereby established in the amount of 3 times the national debt of the United States and payable to every living soul within the boundaries of the 50. So this is like your life insurance policy here, apparently. So, but somebody would have to know about this in order to execute anyway. So secured party as a transmitting utility. P.S. For those of you that are outside of the original Texas lands, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, etc., we recommend only claiming a state's Declaration of Independence because all states' constitutions after the Civil War were forced contracts. And we do not recommend listing any constitutions of the United States of America, as there never was a constitution voted upon by the Americans. Only claim for Declaration of Independence for America. If you are in one of the northern states, for those of you within the original Texas lands, you may want to consider claiming the Constitution for your state and the title of the Declaration of Independence for Texas, as we did on this example. The estoppel that I do does all that too as well. So you guys might want to look into that estoppel service as well. That's going to be amazing. It actually touches on everything that they just made reference to. Your state constitutions in there. These are all custom to each state as well. And so essentially, if you don't, let them know what laws that you're going to be allowing yourself to be subject to, because you have to be allowing yourself to be subject to any of these for them to even apply. You know what I'm saying? Because you are dealing with codes and statutes here. So if you don't claim what it is that you're going to be allowing yourself to be bound by, then they're going to assume that you're going to be bound by their bullshit. So, what we do in the estoppel, it actually encompasses a lot of these particular concepts, and it puts you right into that particular document. You put your kids in there, your address, your car, all that stuff goes in there. So here we have UCC financing statements. This is part of the UCC 3. So and there's different versions of this. There's one in the Cracking the Code. There's one in One Man Out Redemption Manual. I think's got some, and then this is one of the first ones. So additional collateral information. I, Jack Rabbit, agent for the secured party, do hereby place my autograph upon this Declaration of Independence for Texas, a Republic of 1835 as is stated verbatim, the Constitution for the Republic of Texas for March 5th, 1836 as is stated verbatim, which means word for word. So the Spanish land grant of 1821 as is stated verbatim, the Republic of Texas patents from 1836 to present as is stated verbatim, right? So, or as any open land as is stated verbatim, specifically your description of your land, right? So it's going to come down to leads and bounds. That essentially is going to be what describes any particular piece of land. Anything other than leads and bounds is going to be corporate in nature and questionable at best. So per state claimed as is stated verbatim, and also include a further description by Dallas County on warrant deed of 1989 as be sure to stake your claim as you describe it. Place stakes at the corner of your descriptions on your land and paint them purple. I would advise you to go ahead and get a plane survey done on your land and then use that use that information. Don't go fucking hammering some stakes into your ground with a little red tape on it and be like, oh, that shit ain't legit. I mean, maybe it is, but to make it easier, I would just go ahead and get that plain survey done. So number 2, all signatures on all contracts, agreements, unilateral contracts, and licenses predicate on the fiction of all caps Jackrabbit Patriot and or the Social Security number, SSN. This is with dashes, or the employer identification number, or the exemption identification number, which now has been updated to, which is your EIN. That's going to be your social without dashes, and that's what we use to discharge any offers as well, we use the social with the without dashes. That's going to be your closed account. So number 3, declaration of birth, Jack Rabbit Patriot, a living soul born upon the land of Texas, Midland County, Midland, Texas, 22 June 1933. Power of attorney from secured party, all caps, from secured party. All caps, Jack Rabbit Patriot to agent, upper lowercase, Jack Rabbit Patriot. Number 5, writ of habeas corpus for the release of the secured party. So, and then number 6, trademark, copyright of the secured party's name and all that, which I believe that there'll be some examples in the next video here. But you can just get the book and go ahead and check it out yourself if you need it. So number 7, security agreement with the number, right? So this is going to be your security agreement, your private security agreement, which is going to be, you don't have to send them a copy of it, but you can. I mean, I did. So, and then number 8, so the declaration of peace and all that. I guess you can go ahead and send that if you wanted to as well. I did not send that. I did send them an affidavit of sovereignty and all that. You know what I mean? So the agent, so number 9, the agent, Jack Rabbit Patriot, hereby claims all interest and production of any and all marriages, including but not limited to Dallas County, Texas State marriage license number XYZ. The agent, upper lower Jack Rabbit Patriot, a living soul, hereby secures and claims all rights, interests, and titles in all hospitals, city, county, state, federal, and international birth certificates, and the pledge represented by the same, but not limited to Pingis, res, the energy and product derived therefrom, including but not limited to the fictions or corporations, names of minor children, fictions here. And so this is where you go ahead and place all that information, right? And if you have any issues with DCF and, all shit like that, this is going to put you in a way better position when you're dealing with them, okay? So keep that in mind. So the agent, Jack Rabbit Patriot, hereby claims all personal property, including but not limited to, and any and all stocks and bonds purchased by the fiction, all caps, Jack Rabbit, and any derivatives thereof, Texas driver's license with the number XYZ, all bank, credit union, savings, and other financial service accounts of the fiction, Jack Rabbit, and derivatives thereof, bank of. And so this is that. And so we'll get into, we'll move past this actually, and we'll get into who you're going to be sending it to and all that shit, and how that all goes after this video here. So that's a version of how this shit should go. I don't think this shit is amazing, but it's definitely a version to use from and a template to work off of, right? If you're trying to figure out how this shit all goes and what the purpose is and all that. That's what I just did for you, was trying my best to break that down for you. So that's that. So if you need further information as far as the UCC 3 goes, I already have a video on that, really elaborate video. The shit's awesome. I would probably check that out. So that, and you already know what it is, man. It's a game of chess. You really want to set yourself up to win here, you know what I mean? And when you understand the commercial nature of all this fucking nonsense, this is the best way that I could think of to get it done, and this is what I do. So like I said, man, it's a game of chess. Stop playing checkers with these clowns. That's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.